The streets were quiet, the kind of stillness that only arrived after midnight when the city seemed to exhale and soften under the weight of sleep. She walked slowly, her shoes clicking faintly against the pavement, her heart heavier than her steps. At 20, she was still learning the shape of the world, still caught between youthful innocence and the thrilling edge of forbidden desires. Her hair caught the silver glow of the streetlights, and her eyes carried the reflection of secrets she dared not share with anyone. Tonight, those secrets burned brighter than ever. Across the way, leaning against a parked car, he waited. He was 40, his presence commanding even in stillness. His dark jacket blended into the shadows, but his gaze was unmistakable, steady, patient, hungry. He had lived long enough to know better, to walk away from the fire that threatened to consume him. And yet, here he was, waiting for her in the quiet hours, knowing full well the risks, yet unable to resist the pull she had on him. Their connection had started months ago, small and almost innocent. A chance meeting at a bookstore, a conversation that lasted longer than it should, followed by an exchange of phone numbers under the pretense of staying in touch. What began as light-hearted texts soon turned into late-night confessions, words laced with longing, desire, and danger. They built a world in those exchanges, a world where age didn't matter, where judgment and morality faded, where it was just him and her, tethered by a craving neither could control. When she saw him waiting, her chest tightened. Each step toward him was a silent rebellion against the rules she was expected to follow. She could feel her pulse quicken, every inch of her alive with anticipation. His eyes softened as she approached, but there was a fire there too, one that mirrored the storm inside her. "You came," he said softly, his voice low, almost swallowed by the night air. "I couldn't stay away," she whispered, her words trembling with truth. For a moment, they stood in silence, the distance between them shrinking with every heartbeat. She looked up at him, taking in the lines etched by years of living, the strength in his stance, the gentleness in his eyes. To her, he was everything forbidden, everything dangerous, everything she couldn't stop wanting. When he reached for her hand, her breath caught. His fingers were warm, steady, a contrast to the chaos unraveling inside her. That single touch was enough to shatter the fragile restraint they had tried to keep. He pulled her closer, slowly, giving her every chance to step back. But she didn't. She leaned into him, her body aching for the contact, her soul craving the moment she had dreamed about too many nights to count. Their lips met under the cloak of midnight. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was the release of months of suppressed desire, the breaking of invisible chains that bound them. She melted against him, her hands clutching his shirt as if afraid he might vanish, while his arms wrapped around her with a strength that promised both protection and possession. The world around them ceased to exist. There was only this kiss, this secret, this undeniable truth that they belonged in each other's arms, even if only for stolen moments. Her lips parted against his, inviting him deeper, and he obliged, his mouth claiming hers with a hunger that sent shivers down her spine. Every kiss was a confession, every breath shared a vow they dared not speak. His touch traced the curve of her back, igniting fires in places she never knew could burn. She pressed closer, wanting more, needing more, surrendering to the passion that had been caged for too long. When they finally broke apart, their breaths mingled in the cool night air, both trembling with the intensity of what had just unfolded. She looked up at him, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. "We shouldn't," she whispered, though her body leaned toward him as if her words betrayed her. "I know," he said, his thumb brushing her cheek, his voice rough with emotion. "But I can't stop wanting you." Her heart ached at his words, because they echoed her own truth. She had tried to resist, tried to remind herself of the years between them, of the whispers and judgment that would surely follow if anyone knew. But none of it mattered when she was here with him. All that mattered was the way he made her feel, alive, desired, cherished. They lingered there, lost in each other, stealing more kisses under the watchful gaze of the moon. Every embrace was a defiance, every touch a rebellion against the world that demanded they keep their distance. Yet with each passing moment, they grew bolder, their hidden passion impossible to deny. Nights became their sanctuary. She would sneak out, heart racing, knowing he would be there waiting. They would drive aimlessly through empty streets, windows rolled down, the night air carrying their laughter and secrets. Sometimes they parked by the river, watching the water shimmer under the stars, their hands entwined, their lips meeting again and again in kisses that deepened their craving. Other times, they found solace in the quiet of his apartment, where shadows cloaked their love and the walls bore witness to whispered promises and stolen touches. She loved the way he looked at her, as if she were both temptation and salvation. He loved the way her youth reignited his spirit, the way she brought color and fire back into his life. Together, they created a rhythm all their own, a dance of desire and tenderness that neither of them wanted to end. But reality was never far. Each kiss carried the weight of secrecy, each embrace shadowed by the fear of discovery. They lived in fragments of time, caught between what they felt and what they could never openly claim. The world would never understand, but their hearts didn't care. Their love was carved from midnight, hidden but burning bright. One evening, as they lay tangled in each other's arms, she whispered, "Do you ever wonder how long we can keep this a secret?" He kissed her forehead softly, his hand resting over her heart. "As long as it takes," he said. But she could hear the uncertainty beneath his words, the silent acknowledgement that time was not their ally. Still, they clung to the present, cherishing every stolen second. Every kiss after midnight became a thread in the fabric of their story, weaving together passion, longing, and a love too strong to be silenced. She knew it might not last forever, but in those moments, forever felt possible. Their secret kisses became more than desire, they became survival, a way to breathe in a world that wanted to suffocate them. And though dawn always came too soon, pulling them back into the roles they had to play, they knew that when midnight returned, so would their love. For in the quiet hours when the world slept, they found the truth of who they were together. Not defined by age, not bound by rules, but united by a passion too fierce to hide. And so, with each secret kiss after midnight, they wrote their story, one that would never be spoken aloud, but one that would live forever in the fire of their hearts.